Hi friends, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to give you some simple, easy hacks to improving your overhead press. Now, overhead pressing is one of the biggest struggles that I get, especially from female clients in my List Method program and in general, because typically women just have lower natural upper body strength than men. Now, our strength potential is similar to that as anyone else, but we kind of start from a lower starting baseline or kind of struggle at this, especially if you haven't had any history of sports or upper body training. So I'm going to show you today some of my favorite hacks and tips for making your overhead press stronger. Now, my first trick or tip for you is simply going to be learning to engage your core and your legs when doing overhead pressing. I find that so many people just approach the barbell really lackadaisical, and so like you would squat and brace for a squat and keep your core tight and really engage your glutes and your quad. You want to do the same thing when you're doing an overhead press. So approach the bar, get under it, and you can see my core is nice and braced here, and my glutes are tight, and you can't really tell, but my quads are flexed. So instead of pressing where I'm like just kind of standing here and expecting my upper body to do all the strength and I'm not engaging any of my lower body and core, I'm getting really braced and tight and strong, taking that deep breath and pressing overhead on my reps. I find that so many people just don't approach the press with as much intention as they do the squat or anything else in the gym. So you really want to make sure you have that braced core so that you're pressing out. You're doing that Valsalva maneuver, a strong core. It's a deep belly hold, not a chest hold, and engaging your glutes and also your quads. So you're almost gonna feel like your feet are driving into the floor as you're pressing, and even maybe twisting into it a little bit, really similar to what you might be feeling in a squat. And so with that, whenever you're able to do it, instead of again, just kind of like pressing and struggling and trying to do it, you have this huge brace and all this pressure working so you can drive straight up into the bar and move that weight overhead. Now, my tip is one that many people don't know is available to them because not every gym has these, but almost every commercial gym is going to have change plates. Now, these are the 2.5 pound plates, and this is probably about the smallest size plate that you're gonna see in most commercial gyms. But if you're training in a CrossFit box or a more general box style gym like this that has Olympic weightlifting equipment, you're gonna have plates that are maybe as small as a 1/4 pound that you can add to the bar. And so change plates, small plates, can be a great way for you to progress in your overhead press, because for so many people, the weight jumps that you need to make in between 5 pound plates or 10 pound plates is just simply too big. So make sure you utilize the 2.5 pound plates, but even if these are too big for you, generally you can find some smaller plates that are a little bit cheaper and lighter and more affordable. I think even on Amazon and stuff like that. So you just bring them in your gym bag. Little 1 pound plates would be a great addition to your training. And I know that seems silly, but really like 2 extra pounds in your lift can be meaningful for you, or 3 extra pounds if you can get little weight increments to make those smaller jumps in your presses so that you can adjust appropriately to that. Now, if you don't have access to change plates, you can't buy them, and you just don't want to carry them around in your gym bag, which is totally fine, there's a few other things that you can do to help add weight to your set. So what you can do is you can work in ranges for one. So you can do, say, instead of doing, okay, you have to do 3 sets of 8, you can do 3 sets of 8 to 12. And over progressing through the weeks, you can move from doing 8 sets one week or 8 reps one week to 10 reps over time, and then working up towards 12. And then once you kind of get to that 12 range, then trying to add more weight to it. So working in a weight range so that you're working up your reps over time, which is adding slightly more volume to your training and that volume stimulus for what you can do, because typically it's doing more weight that is the biggest issue for people, and that's a way for you to get in more pressing, more volume within that and get a little bit stronger. Another alternative that I do like to use sometimes with clients is just to help them get used to moving weight that they can't move for more reps, is to simply, once you get to that last rep where you can't really, you squeak out your last rep, is then to just do a little bit of push press, just to get kind of used to doing a few extra reps past that failure point of that weight, just get a little bit more stimulus. Now, another alternative option that you have within this is doing varied reps in sets. So you could do a few sets, like 2 sets in that 4 to 6 range of more strength focused work, heavier overhead pressing with more weight for less reps that you can do, and then backing off and doing 2, 3 more sets or whatever it is, depending on the total number of sets you're doing each day, 3 to 5, and doing those for your high rep ranges, so your 8 to 12 rep ranges. So you're getting a little bit of a stimulus in both and varying that, so you kind of can get an adaptation response to both of those, and that will help you figure out as well if you're more of a positive responder to lower reps or heavier higher reps within your training as well, and or just give you the stimulus of both that might allow you to increase that overhead press over time. And my last bit of advice for you guys is going to be accessory work. Do not neglect your accessory work. Make sure you're loading your accessory work appropriately, using heavy dumbbells, doing lots of upper body pressing, both from your chest and overhead. So if you found this helpful, leave a comment below and tell me something you learned. Otherwise, hit subscribe so you can catch us in the next video.